What's happening? This Chad. So, I'm going to talk to you right now about what I call the wash and read. So, got the footage put together where we're going to actually see me doing the wash and read. What I like to do is read a comic book while I'm washing dishes. So, I have both hands in the sink, they're working over here, and I'm reading, and I can actually flip the pages while washing dishes. I don't have to stop and dry my hands off, flip the page, wash a little bit while I read, dry my hands off, flip it. You know what I'm saying. So I've got it figured out to where I don't actually have to do that anymore. Um, there's a couple key points, and I'll go over showing some of them on this footage that I shot of me actually doing the wash and read. And uh, the main thing to know about this is that it's all in the preparation. So I use a just a case of empty water bottles. I take the water bottles after I've drank them and I save them in the plastic wrapper. So I've got like a little mini shelf up next to my sink. Then I use a small box of Rhino Power mana bars, and after I've eaten all the mana bars, I use that as a little shelf that will keep the far page lifted up a little bit so I can easily see that page as I'm over the sink with my hands washing. And then the biggest thing to have is a good bookmark, not a flimsy one. So you'll see that in the video. That is probably the real tool that makes it possible. You can probably get away without having the little box on the other side to keep the page up. Just makes it easier, I've found. So the first key is all about getting the book prepped. And this is what I will do. Take my book I want to read. Best way to do this is to start with a roll. So I will get the book, kind of just roll it down. So this was last week's Guardians of the Galaxy. Thank you, Donny Cates. It's been a fun one. So what we're doing here is we're just going to roll this side, roll the page in. Be careful not to crease the pages if possible. All right, and then we do I call it a sliding roll. As we roll out, we let the corner work its way to the end. And then as you can see, we're starting to have some curled up edges there. So this is the biggest trick. So you get the idea. So I'll go through, get the whole book set up. If I know I got 5 minutes worth of washing, I'll just do a couple pages, but usually I try to save up enough dishes so I can read most of, if not an entire book at once. So here we go. So the reason to do this is it feathers those bottom corners. It makes it easier after you flip the page to get your bookmark slid under the next page, have it ready to go, so you're not stopping to dry your hands off. So it really picks up the pace of actually reading this. So there we go, and now we're at the beginning. Donny Cates, good job, buddy. Okay, so I don't actually have my bookmark up here. We're just going to make do with an old SD card. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll get this first page I'm going to read. That's under there. And then the whole idea is we're going to flip. And then after we flip, we're going to slide under the next page that has a curled up edge there. See how those edges are all nice and curled? We've got a little bit of a gap between them. So that gap, we're going to get our bookmark or whatever else you want to use for it. Get that slid under there. And then that's going to sit there waiting until we're ready. Next thing's ready to go. Cool. We just flip the page, slide under, and we're ready to go for the next one. See how that's working? So, of course, we got 2 stuck together pages, but you know, can't win them all. So that's kind of how that works. Sometimes you'll see me, I've got to, I'll blow the pages apart. That way we get a little more separation, make it easier to get under there. Then I just read the far page, flip, alrighty. There we go, we can get into under that little crack right there. Whoop. So that's how it's done. Pretty nifty. So here I am actually at my sink and we're getting ready to do this in real life. So this is what I do every time I'm washing my dishes. I'm also reading. So I have a case of empty water bottles set up there, and that gets the book up high and to the side so that none of the water is going to splash up out of the sink and damage my comic books. So right now I'm getting everything prepped with the roll, and that gives the like feathered effect at the bottom corner of each of those pages so that I can slide between them with the bookmark. I use that empty mana bar box on the left hand side to keep the far page lifted up a little higher so it is easier to see. So that bookmark is the most important part. It's one of the harder plastic ones. It's not flimsy paper, so when I actually lift it up to turn the page, it's got enough weight and sturdiness to it that it will allow me to flip the page over and then use it as a guide to slide in between the curled up corners and get ready for the next one. So as you can see, my hands are fully in the sink. I am, oh, there we go. So that's how it's done. But I'm actually reading this as I was recording this video. I really like to try and combine as many things together as I can, and I've been wanting to shoot some video of me actually doing this for a little while, but I never wanted to give up the time of actually reading a book. So I decided I would just speed up the footage. You can see what happens, and there we go again. Slide under that curled up corner. Ta-da! It actually works pretty well once you get used to it. I imagine you could use this with, not just comic books, but if you got a magazine you like to read, but you need to get dishes done. Now there's that stuck together page. That happens every now and then. Just got to be a little more gentle with it. Sometimes I'll use my elbow and put a little more pressure over. It'll help keep that page from rolling back over on itself. I got lucky on this one and it stayed put long enough for me to finish reading those 2 pages. But after that stuck page, we got along pretty well there. So what you just saw me do there, I blew between the curled up corners. Sometimes as you go through the time of reading, the corners will start to roll back on themselves. I found if I blow a little air at them, it'll feather them back out, so it's easier to get that bookmark slid between the next pages. So I found that when I am going through life lately, I like to try and have more than one thing to do. It's like I've kind of noticed that if I only have 1 or 2 projects that I need to get done in a day, there'll be 100 other things that come up, and the 1 or 2 things that I really wanted to get done, they never seem to happen. So as many times as I can, I will combine doing something that doesn't require a lot of brain power. In this case, washing the dishes. That's pretty self-explanatory. You just wash and you're good to go. But reading is a little more something I want to focus on. So I will actually be reading, with the main part of my brain, and then I'm using my hands in a more or less automatic function. Like I don't have to concentrate very hard with that. So sometimes at work I'll get one thing laid out that while I'm talking to a supplier or a customer on the phone, and they're asking questions that I can answer more or less, just off memory and don't have to think too hard on it. I can also be working something else with my hands at my desk and able to get 2 or 3 things worked on at the same time. So anytime I can combine minimum of 2 projects at once, I'm usually going to go for it. I found that I'll get more things done every day the more that I'm able to maximize my time and combine jobs. And be on the lookout, my little shirts that I've got made here. I've actually got some hats that are in the works and some button-up shirts, which are my personal favorite. So I'm gonna have a few new things coming out here, hopefully by the end of January, if everything goes right, getting printed up and stitched together. So we'll wait a bit and see how that comes along. But during the filming of this video, I actually got almost all except for the last, like, I think 3 or 4 pages of this whole comic book read, and I washed all 4 of my Rhino Power blender bottles with the lids and the little blender whisk that drops down in the bottom. So now I got zoomed in a little bit and showing you a closer image of what the pages look like as they're, you know, curled up, getting ready to start this again. And I just wanted you to be able to see closer. Hey, Donny Cates, good job with this Guardian series. I'm pretty pumped you're over at Marvel now, and looking forward to all your future books, but we'll see if you ever watch this. So, trying to just give another example, camera a little bit closer so you can see how this actually works. So, flip with the mouth, slide under the next page, and we're ready to go. So, once again, thanks for taking the time to watch this little video, and hopefully you can think of a way to use this in your own life. Think of 2 things, something you need to do, something you like to do. Try to find a way to put 2 of them together and work on them both at the same time. I have found that it helps me a lot in life to get more things done every day. And there we go. Bookmark makes it happen. So there you go. That is how you do a wash and read. I like to take something that I need to get done and then something I enjoy doing. And if I don't have time to do both of those individually, I will think up a way to combine the 2. Next thing you know, you're multitasking like a champ. So this is one of my tricks. I use it a couple times a week whenever I got to do my dishes. So pretty much any time that I'm washing dishes, I'm also reading at the exact same time. Alrighty. Hope you enjoyed this fun little video, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.